Well, thanks everyone for being here. It's great to see everybody here in beautiful Canmore, and especially at the Nordic Centre, such a great facility, a world-renowned facility here. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to address the devastating wildfires currently affecting California. Alberta Wildfire has received a request to assist California through the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. Good neighbors are always there for each other. In 2023, California firefighters bravely supported Alberta in a time of great need, and now Alberta is answering the call and stepping up to support our friends and partners in the United States. As of this morning, on January 13th, 2 wildfire crews, including 40 wildland firefighters and 2 agency representatives, are on their way to California to assist with firefighting efforts. Additionally, Type 1 firefighters, incident command personnel, and qualified support staff are ready to go. Alberta Wildfire is also preparing water bombers, pilots, and contracted night vision helicopters to assist in California if requested. The critical situation in California is a stark reminder of why we're doing the work we're doing here in Alberta to ensure our communities are prepared and reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfires. For Alberta communities near forests, wildfires remain a major concern. Decades of fire suppression left our forests aging and vulnerable. Wildfires can spread much more quickly and intensely when there's a buildup of combustible materials that can easily ignite when the wildfire risk is high. Our own recent fire in Jasper shows how quickly wildfires can grow out of control and how significantly they can impact our communities. And that is exactly why Alberta's government has a community fireguard program. I had the opportunity to visit the Bow Valley Community Fireguard project before Christmas, and I am encouraged by the progress that's being made. This project was made possible thanks to the hard work and collaboration between the town of Canmore, the Municipal District of Bighorn, and the Kananaskis Improvement District, along with the province of Alberta. Through mechanical tree removals, the forest can be thinned, and it can create a zone surrounding the Bow Valley communities to help prevent wildfires from reaching homes, local businesses, and critical infrastructure in the area. This can also slow down wildfires, giving firefighters more time to act if needed. I look forward to seeing this stage completed this spring and the next construction phases underway. This fireguard is a great example of how different levels of government can work together to increase the wildfire resilience of our communities. Fireguards also have a significant benefit for our local economies and forest health. Timber revenues from harvested trees help offset project costs while supporting our forestry industry partners. Forest thinning opens up the forest canopy, promoting new growth on the forest floor for wildlife, leading to healthier forests and ecosystems. It's also important to note that construction is done with care to protect sensitive areas, such as wildlife habitats, nesting sites, and wetlands. These areas are flagged and buffer zones added to protect wildlife species and bodies of water from harm. Like every Albertan, I love our forests, but I don't want to love them to death. It is more important than ever that we do everything we can to protect them from the risk of catastrophic wildfires. As we prepare for the 2025 wildfire season, our government is taking significant steps to enhance wildfire preparedness across the province, with several other fireguard initiatives currently underway. In Whitecourt and Hinton, fireguard planning is in progress. Swan Hills is also focused on debris cleanup from a 2023 fireguard construction to ensure continued wildfire protection for the area. Additionally, our wildland firefighters will receive specialized training at the Hinton Training Center, which also provides free online training to municipalities and local fire departments. To further support local communities, the province maintains mutual aid and resource sharing agreements to ensure access to specialized firefighting equipment when needed. The Fire Smart program continues to help make properties more resistant to wildfires, and its principles are being implemented across the province. We are also implementing prescribed burns and selective harvesting to remove aging trees and restore our forests to a more natural state. Aggressive measures to reduce the mountain pine beetle population have also been very effective, thanks in no small part to excellent collaboration between our government, the town of Canmore, the MD of Bighorn, and industry partners. We are winning in this battle and continue working to cut and burn infested trees as needed. In closing, wildfire prevention is a shared responsibility, and all Albertans can help by staying informed about fire risks, following fire bans and restrictions, and being careful during dry conditions. While lightning caused a record number of wildfires last year, a human-caused wildfire still remain the leading cause. It's only by working together that we can reduce the number of human-caused wildfires we have to fight each year. We still have work ahead of us to do, but with initiatives like the Community Fireguard program and the tireless efforts of our Alberta wildfire team, we are better prepared for the 2025 season. Thank you, and I'd like to invite the Mayor of Canmore, His Worship Sean Crosser, to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. As the Mayor of Canmore, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the beautiful Bow Valley. Several of my council colleagues have joined us today as well. I see Councillor Graham and Councillor Hillstad, Councillor Faubert. Apologize if I have missed anyone. And it is especially my honor to welcome Minister Loewen here. Over the last year, communication between our respective offices have been very productive, and the support from the Minister for our community has been really huge. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the incredible support and funding through FRIA over several years. The town of Canmore is very grateful. I'd also like to acknowledge our municipal neighbors who are represented here today. Welcome to Reeve Rosfald from the MD of Bighorn, Mayor DeMano from Banff, and Chair Shebeck from ID9. And welcome to the officials from your communities. Here in the Bow Valley, traditional lands of the Stoney Nakoda, Blackfoot, and Tsuut'ina, we protect each other from wildfire. What we do here in Canmore to mitigate the risk of wildfire protects you, and what each of you do protects us. Wildfire remains the top-rated hazard to life, property, and critical infrastructure within and around the Bow Valley. What we have grown to see as natural landscape in the Bow Valley, an abundance of mature trees and decadent forests, is not a natural landscape at all. Decades of wildfire suppression has resulted in a human-made environment that poses a great threat to Canmore and the surrounding communities. Wildfire spreads more quickly and intensely through mature forest. Historically, the Bow Valley saw wildfires on a more regular basis, but it has been over 100 years since the last wildfire came through. If we do not manage our forests, nature will manage them for us. With the tragedy that has recently struck our friends in Jasper and the devastation that is currently being felt in California, our resolve to act in the face of wildfire risk has only been strengthened. While increasing the Bow Valley's resilience to wildfire has long been a priority for Canmore's council and community, FRIA's funding has helped to accelerate the planning and construction of the Bow Valley Community Fireguard. Because wildfires do not respect jurisdictional boundaries, we are working with the Municipal District of Bighorn and Kananaskis Improvement District, with support from Alberta Forestry and Parks. The work in 2024 and 2025 will see approximately 200 hectares of forest mechanically harvested across Stoneworks Creek, Harvey Heights, and the East Park Gates. An additional 116 hectares of forest will also be thinned. In addition to providing a critical space for fire suppression tactics and efforts during a wildfire, the Bow Valley Community Fireguard will also help improve ecological integrity. Mature, continuous forests are not good habitat for an array of species, including deer, elk, and bears. While the landscape will appear different when work on the fireguard is done, the changes will mimic many of the similar positive impacts that a wildfire would have, like opening the forest canopy, increasing forage, and creating edge habitat. To ensure the integrity of the construction of the fireguard and its impact on wildlife, specialists in human-wildlife coexistence have been engaged in the planning of this project, and a wildlife and avian survey was completed to account for migratory and cavity nesting birds. For example, the survey identifies several potential pileated woodpecker nests on the edge of the fireguard area, and these trees will not be removed. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks again to the province for your continued support and efforts to protect our community. And now I'd like to call upon Reeve Roswald from the Municipal District of Bighorn.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today as we recognize the important wildfire protection work underway in our communities. The development of the fireguard is a significant step forward towards enhancing our public safety and reducing wildfire risk in the Bow Valley. I'm grateful for the collaboration between our municipalities, the Town of Canmore, Kananaskis Improvement District, and the provincial government, and other key partners who have helped make this project possible. Their commitment to the fireguard demonstrates the importance of working together across all levels of government to protect our communities. My gratitude goes to the dedicated crews, emergency management teams, and forestry and environment experts who will be working on the ground to make this fireguard a reality. To our residents, I want to express my appreciation for your patience and your support as this work progresses. Fire prevention is a shared responsibility, and while this fireguard is a major step forward, we must remain vigilant. I encourage everyone to stay informed about fire safety measures and to be prepared in case of all emergencies. I want to sincerely thank Minister Loewen and the provincial government for their continued support of wildfire protection and all the efforts in and around the Bow Valley. Thank you. I'd like to now call on Mr. Todd Nash.
Well, thank you, Reeve. I'm very happy to be here today to offer a few words at this special occasion on behalf of the Forest Resource Improvement Association of Alberta, or FRIA. FRIA is an independent association with a mandate to deliver grant funding programs and initiatives that improve forest resources of Alberta and that enhance the management of forests for the benefit of all Albertans. We're accountable to the ministry, the forestry minister, and we're also accountable to our members, all who have put a priority on advancing forestry in a way that benefits or helps to protect Albertans. FRIA is pleased to support Alberta Forestry and Parks in the delivery of the Community Fireguard Program. Fully funded by the province of Alberta, this program is aimed at helping communities across Alberta address the potential catastrophic impacts of wildfire. The program provides funding for the planning and construction of community fireguards that provide for enhanced public protection and safety. Recent impacts of wildfire on Albertans, our neighboring communities, provinces to the west, and to our neighbors to the south really drive home the importance of being proactive in addressing the risk and consequences of wildfires on communities. FRIA's long-standing relationship with Alberta's Forestry Ministry and our mandate in delivering programs that enhance the management of the province's forest resources make it a natural partnership between the department and FRIA to deliver this grant funding program. FRIA is especially pleased and proud to support this project in Canmore, the Bow Valley Community Fireguard. The project is clearly needed, broadly supported, and technically sound. We know that a lot of work has gone into a sophisticated risk assessment, detailed planning, public communication and engagement, and careful implementation. The project meets all of the criteria we look for in providing grant funding and will likely serve as a model for other communities that wish to take proactive measures to protect their homes, businesses, and infrastructure from wildfire. While today is about Canmore and their efforts to address wildfire risks, FRIA openly encourages all communities in Alberta to take part in the Community Fireguard program. It's a very effective and timely program. The foresight, active support, and financial contributions of Alberta Forestry and Parks to the concepts of wildfire mitigation and to this program specifically is significant. We look forward to other communities following Canmore's lead in their proactive approach to establishing fireguards and implementing other wildfire mitigation measures. Thank you for inviting us to be a part of this important event.
That concludes the formal section of the we will now open the floor to questions from the media. When called upon, please list your name, your outlet, and in the interest of fairness and time, we'll restrict it to one question and one follow-up. Are there any questions on the floor? Go ahead.
Probably for the minister, Connor Donovan with the Weather Network. I'm just wondering if you can explain a bit more about exactly where this fire guard is being built, and obviously Canmore, I believe, is the main community being protected here, but can you maybe expand on what exactly is being protected when it comes to communities and infrastructure and anything else around here?
Yeah, so the fire guard is on the south side of the highway, on the west side of the community, and this fire guard, and there will be more work being done further west in the community to the west there too, up against the Banff National Park. So basically these fire guards are created to be able to reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfire, to make sure that when a fire does come along, that it has a place for the wildland firefighters to battle a fire from. And basically when we look at the communities that have been burnt in the past, we look at Slave Lake, we look at Fort McMurray, we look at Jasper, those were all type 5-6 fires that were huge fires that came in quick and were very strong. And we want to make sure that we have fire guards that are up to the task to be able to drive those fires to the ground so that they can be battled on the ground.
And then I suppose why there specifically? Has there been work done to sort of model what the most likely place a fire might come from, or something like that?
Yeah, I guess the winds traditionally come from the west, so that's the first area of protection. But there'd be work that will be done in the future, all up and down the Bow Valley, to make sure that we protect the communities along here.
Thank you. Any other questions on the floor?
I'd like to ask a question, one question to the minister and then one to the mayor, if I could.
Sure.
First of all, before I ask a question, just a clarification on this. The $750,000, is that for completion of these three projects that are currently on the table? I mean, Snowbirds Creek, Hardy Heights, and
Yes, and the cost of these is being mitigated a bit by the value of the timber that comes off. And so that was one thing we wanted to make sure that the people of Alberta get a value from that timber that's being taken off, so that make sure that and the more that we can have that timber mitigate the cost, the more work that we can do across the province.
And just looking into this, then, the expectation is that these three projects will be completed by spring. Is that correct? And give us a sense here in terms of what kind of improvement that's going to make for, I don't want to say fireproofing, but just basically creating kind of that safety zone in this area.
Yeah, so the plan is to have it done for the spring. I'll have maybe Caitlin come up in a minute to cover that a little more in depth. But again, this is all about mitigation. This is all about making sure that there's protection from the community. When we look at the stands of dense forest and older forest that are around this community, each of them creates a potential hazard, a potential spot for fire to come into the community. We want to make sure that we have that break in that vegetation to make sure that when a fire does come along, that there's an opportunity to push that fire to the ground before it gets to the community, to the homes, and to the businesses. So maybe Caitlin, I'm not sure if you want to expand on that, or was there anything that no, it's good. Okay.
I'd like to ask the mayor a question if I could.
Sure.
Mayor, just, we hear about winds from the west and so on, but just, it's a long-time resident here. Just what are the big concerns in terms of where that fire risk really lies out here? Just to give a sense in terms of currently how vulnerable do you think that these communities are along here and where that risk is?
Well, as I mentioned, and as the minister mentioned, I mean, it's an unnatural forest situation that we have here. And there are certainly fuels all around the municipality. And that's why the fire guard will eventually be at various points all around the municipality, and also protecting municipality or communities associated with the municipal district of Bighorn, such as Harvey Heights and Lac des Arcs. When deciding where to start, really, it was what could be done in this time frame, what's the highest risk, and you're looking at south-facing slopes, which tend to get the driest, and at the west. And there's a lot of fuel there, but that doesn't mean that there isn't fuel or risk coming from other places, such as if the winds were to come from the south, and that will be part of the future steps with regards to creating our fire guard. But this is the first best step, is where we're working right now.
What else do you want to see done?
Well, eventually the fire guard is going to have to be completed. For years, Canmore has been working with FRIA funding to do as much as we could do within our municipal boundaries. However, back in 2023, I began to communicate with the minister's office about the fuel on outside of a municipality that we can't touch and is largely on provincial lands. And the minister's office was very receptive. We've had some very good discussions, and we're very happy with the funding that's been provided so that we could start, or we did the design, and now we're moving into full implementation. But it does take a little time for all of the community fire guards to be completed.
Thank you. Just opening the floor again.
Chris Brown, Cross-Border Network. I have a question for the minister, the mayor, and the reeve, if possible. This fire guard
Just
is
one
one.
each.
Oh,
One question.
oh,
one
but
follow
it's
each.
all for them to answer if possible.
perfect.
This fire guard is one cog in the mechanism to protect communities across this forest protection area. What are you telling residents to do today to mitigate potential even more losses as we wait for this fire guard to get up? Because we're a month and a week away from the unofficial start of fire season in Alberta, and while driving into Canmore today, it's dry out there.
Yeah, no, definitely the message is to the people of Alberta to be aware, report smoke and report fires as they see them, and be extra cautious themselves when out on the landscape when it comes to having things like campfires and things like that out on the landscape. Can't be too cautious. It is dry out there. There's some parts of the province that have a lot of snow right now, and aren't as much risk right now. But there is parts of Alberta that snow load is very low, and we need to be cautious at all times. And again, to make sure that they report the fires as they see them.
Yes, and for residents, I'd also encourage that people are prepared. On the Town of Canmore website is a emergency management readiness tool that will help people be ready to either go or stay in place depending on whatever emergency should arise in the future. We also encourage residents to sign up with Voyant Alert. We've had a huge uptake. That's going to be the primary source of communication to tell people what they need to do, when they need to do it. Also on the town website is a map containing zones. People should be familiar with their zones. And so between personal preparedness and then the town having taken lots of steps over the last number of years to clear through fire smarting, fuel that's on the floor, as well as creating really in-depth plans and working with our neighbors and other levels of government to make sure that there's the agreements in place to provide assistance. I believe that we are moving ahead well on all the areas that are needed in order to be best prepared to face what emergency faces us, and to respond in a way that hopefully protects people, buildings, and our community.
And I would echo what Minister Loewen and Mayor Krausert have both said. We've got Voyant Alert as well. That's one of the #1 ways that people can be alerted to dangers in their area. In the MD of Bighorn, we've unfortunately over the last 5 years had varying degrees of, I think, 4 different wildfires. So people really know the threat of this. They've inadvertently gone through their own scenarios of what they would do because there have been close calls. Luckily, we've been able to get them all out. But one of the #1 things that I would encourage everybody to do is just to come up with a plan with your household. Make sure you've got a communication open with your neighbors. As much as all this technology is around to be able to alert people, going and knocking on your neighbor's door to make sure that they know what's going on too is also a good thing to include in your plan. So yeah, just making sure everybody knows what they would do. So
a follow-up just for the reeve and the mayor. Are you prepared for this wildfire season? While we wait for this guard to be installed, are you prepared? Are your residents prepared for any potential incident that happens this year?
I think every year that has gone by over the last couple of years, we're becoming more and more prepared. The town of Canmore, the town of Banff, and the MD of Bighorn have also just recently signed an agreement to start working on a regional emergency evacuation plan. So that is another step in this preparedness. We talk about not if, it's a when. So it is at the top of mind at every community meeting that I attend. It's the first thing that everybody wants to talk about is how are we going to deal with this. So I think our municipalities made great strides in the last 3-4 years to make sure we are as prepared as possible. So this fire guard is a really big step in making sure that puzzle's as succinct as we can. So, and being as prepared as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that we are the most prepared that we've ever been. And we will continue to get more prepared as we can do more and more. We have plans in place. We have agreements with our neighbors. We beyond collaborating on this one project, we collaborate on many levels, whether it be communication, assistance. We're meeting regularly with the town of Banff and Parks Canada. So we are as prepared as we can be, and we'll continue to work hard to learn from other situations and continue to get more and more prepared as we go on.
Thank you. Just to keep things fair, make sure that the people on the line can get a chance to ask their questions as well. Can we move on to the phone lines? Operator, can you patch the first caller through?
Yes, of course. The first question is from Noah Brennan from the Calgary Herald. Please go ahead.
Hi. My question is for the minister. I was just wondering, have you spoken with any of the firefighters being sent to California? And if so, can you say anything about how crews were feeling before heading down there?
I haven't talked to any of the 42 personnel that are headed there personally myself, but I've been in contact with the Assistant Deputy Minister of Forestry and Parks. And so the crews were arrived in Edmonton last night, and they were on the road 7 o'clock this morning, heading to Bakersfield, California. The destination may change as California Wildfire assesses what where their needs will be. I've been in communication with CAL FIRE personally last Thursday, and also with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services last Thursday also.
Do you have a follow-up?
Okay, thank you. And can you comment on how long crews might be expecting to be down there for?
They're expected to be there 14 days, though that could possibly be extended, but 14 days is the plan right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe I'll just add one thing to the previous question too, is another thing Albertans can do is download the Alberta Wildfire app and also the Alberta Fire Ban app. So.
Thank you. Operator, can we patch through the second caller?
The next question is from Nav Sangha from CTV. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is a question for the minister. Can you share what work is being done in and around Jasper as you prepare for this upcoming wildfire season?
Yeah, so we've been in communication with Parks Canada. We want to make sure that Jasper is protected from the west. That's still a possible danger for the residents of Jasper. The residents are concerned about that, and so we are too. So we've been in communications with Parks Canada to make sure that work is being done to protect Jasper on the west side. And that's at this time, that's probably our biggest concern right now is that west side, and making sure that Parks Canada works on that. We work with the municipality of Jasper itself, and within the boundaries of town, we're working with Fire Smart and different programs like that. But when it comes to outside of the municipal boundaries, then that's when we have to work with Parks Canada.
Thank you. Is there a follow-up?
Yeah, I have a question just about AI technology. I know that Alberta Wildfire uses AI to predict where potential fires might pop up, but is that the only sort of technology that is being utilized in terms of machine learning or AI, or is Alberta Wildfire using other forms?
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of technology that Alberta Wildfire uses. Of course, they have the weather modeling and also the landscape analysis on the dryness and the amount of fuel load on the forest floor and things like that. The AI that they use is just a part of just another tool that they use. The AI doesn't make the decisions. The decisions still get made by individuals who gather the information from both AI and other aspects of analysis that are coming into them. And then they basically will make decisions on where they want to put resources. And if we see that an area is drying up, and if we see that there's a greater risk of wildfire in a particular area, then we'll move crews and equipment to those areas.
Thank you. And just in the interest of time, just because we are coming up on time, we will do one last question. Are there any other questions on the floor?
Sarah Offen, Global News. For Minister Loewen, I'm wondering, at the same time right now, we have a controlled burn, which is supposed to be happening in the Ribbon Creek area. And my understanding is, because we have these wildland crews that are being sent to California, that there are going to be impacts for the work that's being done, the winter work here in Alberta, to try and manage some of the wildfire risks that we're currently facing. Can you talk to me about how you're juggling those resources and how that's going to impact that project in particular?
Yeah, so the resources that we sent, the Type 1 firefighters that we've sent, some of them were some of the new hires that we've had for the forest officers, and some of them are the Type 1 firefighters that have been working on the landscape. And so we don't expect it would be, that this will put us behind at all on that. We still have our fire tac crews that are on the landscape working on, we still have 6 wildfires that we're working on right now. And of course, we're working on the areas like Ribbon Creek for the prescribed burns that we have planned. With Ribbon Creek, we've been working on that one for a couple of years now, and to make sure that we have both the protection, to make sure that fire has, so we can have a better chance of keeping it under control, and rather than have it get out of control on us. And so that work will be continuing, and hopefully we'll have a weather window this year that we'll be able to do that. Obviously, with the wildfire situation we've had the last couple of years, we haven't had that window of opportunity to do that.
And I would just like to add a follow-up question, Kathy from CTV National. In terms of fire smarting homes, anything in the works of doing that? Just because with the Jasper wildfire, those embers traveled well before that fire got there, and that's what kind of created the situation inside the town.
Yeah, so our fire smart work continues on. I can't remember the exact figures. Maybe I might bring Todd up to take that question more fully. But we do have millions of dollars that we put to FRIA that deliver the fireguard program, or the Fire Smart program for us. And so those are programs that, like you say, are more focused on individual homes, individual communities, and working in tight with those communities. But maybe, if you don't mind, Todd, maybe you can expand on that a little bit as far as the amount of money that we're putting in for Fire Smart in any given year, and the work that's being done.
Yes, the provincial Fire Smart program that we've been delivering has been ongoing since about 2016. And in any typical year, we're dispersing in the neighborhood of $5 million a year that goes towards Fire Smart activities, which includes a whole range of activities relative to homeowners, the community at large, and activities similar to fireguard construction. We've put over $30 million since the inception of that program into Fire Smart activities, and the program continues on with, of course, support from the Forestry Ministry.
I just have one follow-up question just for anybody on the floor. With what's going on in California right now, and Jasper wildfire last year, and all the wildfires that we seemingly get almost every single summer now, and the window of that season stretches, it's much longer now. Is there a sense of more urgency now to get this fire guard up and to protect Canmore?
Yeah, I think the sense of urgency has always been there as far as protecting our communities. Definitely, I think the people of Alberta, I think, are more aware now because of some of the situations we've seen, like you say, Jasper, and what's happening in California. I think if we would have tried a fire guard similar to the one we're doing now, maybe 5 years ago, I don't know that there would have been the support, the widespread support for it. And now we see this opportunity to be able to make a big difference when it comes to fire guards. And I guess the other thing we're seeing is we're seeing our forest age. Our forest age. We don't have the fire in the landscape that we had maybe 100 years ago. It was interesting when the Bow Valley group put out the first information on this program, this FireGuard program. They put out a picture from I believe the 1890s of this valley, and then a picture of it today, and it's unrecognizable, the difference in the terrain and the amount of forest. And when we look at again, what's happened in the past is we would if we go back more than 100 years ago, there would have been fires regularly coming through and cleaning up the smaller brush. Would have been better habitat for wildlife at that time too. We know the First Nations used fire to enhance the wildlife populations in the areas too. And that's something that's been lost over time. And now it's time for us to try to make up that difference and to make the landscape here a little more natural, a little more like it was 100, 120 years ago.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you everyone for joining us. Just to let you know, visuals are available through a Dropbox link, which was included in the media notice. If you cannot access it, just reach out to me and I will send it to you.